Welcome to Counters. Today
Perfect.
we are glad to be joined by the University of Johannesburg and we are joined by Tsepiso and we are going to be talking about accountancy at UJ and specifically the CASA designation. Welcome to Counters and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yes, please tell us a bit about yourself and your accountancy journey.
Oh, okay. So I wasn't expecting that question, but yeah, I am a qualified chartered accountant. I qualified in 2010, I believe. Yeah, so many years ago. I am a UJ alumni as well. So I studied at the University of Johannesburg, did my undergrad there. I did my CTA there. I then did my articles at Nedbank. And thereafter went and I worked for a couple of entities. And then, yeah, I've been at UJ lecturing. I've lectured at the first year level, the second year level, BCom and BAc. And I'm also the program coordinator for the Bachelor of Accounting degree at UJ. So, yeah, that is in a nutshell who I am.
Wow, no, thank you for sharing with us. It seems like you've been a DJ for quite a while. Yeah, and that's why it's great that we could have you and you would know more about the accountancy journey as well as how it is studying at the University of Johannesburg. And just to get into it, maybe the first question I will ask is, what is the CASA designation? As you've mentioned that you are a CA yourself, what would you say that is? Because I'm sure many people know about it or have heard about the term CASA, but what is it about?
Okay, so the actual abbreviation CA is a chartered accountant based in South Africa. So it is a qualification that is issued by the South African Institute of Chartered Accountants, being SAICA. And you get that qualification once you've completed your academic studies at a university and the completion of board exams together with your traineeship or your articles. So it's a professional designation, and it gives you basically it designates you, as you would say, to perform certain functions and responsibilities within the ambit of the qualification, namely being finance, accounting, auditing, and taxation. So that is what the CA designation is.
Okay, no, thank you for that. So, the follow-up question to that would be, why study towards the CASA designation and specifically at the University of Johannesburg? I'm sure there are many who would want to study towards it, but are not sure which institution they should go through. So, and why should I study CA or why should I become a CA? What role does it play in our society today?
So I think there are professions out there that one could choose to belong to, but if you have a passion for numbers, as many CAs do, and you really want to make a difference in terms of steering, entities, being captains of industry, heading up your major companies, definitely it is a profession that one should consider. Why one would want to do it at the University of Johannesburg? I think we've been doing it for quite a long time. I mean, I studied when the University of Johannesburg was still RAU. So we've got extensive experience in terms of being an accredited SAICA institution for the CA designation and the CA profession. So at UJ, generally, we have an amazing, team of lecturers. We have a young, dynamic, very innovative. And, that's one of the skills that you need to be a CA. You need to innovate. I think during the last couple of months, the last couple of years, we've seen the need to innovate and to change and move the profession into a completely different direction as the world moves into this particular direction of AI and so on and so forth. So at UJ, we are pioneers in that space. The institution itself is a leader in 4IR research, technology, implementation. And as a result, our department at the University of Johannesburg, specifically the School of Accountancy, is at the forefront of these developments within the accountancy profession. If you look at, because it's also important that people understand that they need to do research. So go to the different institutions, look at the type of content that's offered within the degrees. And for instance, at UJ, we do extensive integration of 4IR and robotics and all the likes, which is very important now in terms of the direction that the world and the profession is moving. So that's one of the reasons why one would want to come to the University of Johannesburg. And also, I mean, we are the biggest provider of Black CAs or candidates into the ITC exam, which is the first board exam. So this is for residential universities. Obviously, you've got other universities, or your main one, which is an online distance learning education. But in terms of residential universities, UJ is the biggest provider of candidates for the ITC exam. So we know what we're doing. We've been doing it extensively. I really recommend that potential CAs or people wanting to enter the profession, do your research, go on to SAICA's website, go onto the different universities' websites. You'll also see, I think, just as a something that is not on paper. But if you talk to UJ alumni, myself being included, hence I went back and I actually work for the same institution that I studied at, I think that's testament to the type of environment that you will experience as a UJ student. Talk to any UJ student, any UJ alumni, they'll tell you we're a warm, very nurturing, student-centric university. Because at the end of the day, it is our job together with the students, and that's the thing. We work together with the students, in tandem with the students, to actually get a product out that everyone is going to be proud of. The profession, the country, our students themselves will be proud of. And you'll see, as I indicated earlier, that many of our students come back in giving back to the institution. So some are lecturers, some are trainees doing their academic articles. Others come and they want to work with other professional organizations through the University of Johannesburg. So that really speaks testament to the type of institution that we're at. So research is important. Talk to people, read up on the different institutions, and then make an informed decision as to which university you want to go to. But also one other thing, it's also important to make sure that the university that you're going to study at is a SAICA accredited university, because there are many universities that will offer accounting degrees, but it's important to go onto SAICA's website and get the list of the institutions that are SAICA accredited, because those institutions will then be the pipeline through which you'll flow into becoming a CA.
Wow, yeah, and thank you for highlighting those important aspects, especially with regard to registered universities that are accredited to offer such courses, and the importance of research, as well as you've mentioned, not just taking your word for it. But thank you so much for that. And that leads us to our third question. As many would complete their high school studies, and many are also thinking of changing their career paths and considering various options, and one of them would be the CASA designation. So the question would be, what subjects do I require to be considered for studies towards the CASA designation, specifically at the University of Johannesburg? What do I need to have done? Or for those who are thinking of doing or selecting their subjects for grade 10, or reselecting subjects again, going back to school and doing that, what subjects do I need to have for me to be considered for that path?
So entry requirements into the University of Johannesburg's BAC program, which is a CA stream for our students, you would need to have an APS score, a minimum APS score of 33. So obviously students would want to apply with their grade 11 results. So from those grade 11 results, make sure that your APS score is a minimum of 33. Then over and above that, you need to have a minimum mark of 60% for maths. And then we do not take maths literacy. Unfortunately, we do not accept candidates with technical maths either. So pure maths, 60% minimum. For English, you need to have a 50% minimum to get into the BAC program. And it's also important, and I think this is one of the most important things that people need to understand. You do not need to have accounting in high school to qualify for entry into the University of Johannesburg's BAC program. So any myths out there in terms of, where students feel, oh my goodness, I don't have accounting as my subject choices in grades 10, 11, and 12, or my high school doesn't offer accounting as a subject, don't despair. You don't need to have accounting in high school to get access into the University of Johannesburg's BAC program. However, a minimum maths mark of 60%, as well as a minimum 50% for English and an APS score of 33. But also, I think it's important to understand that lots of people want to become CAs. So getting an APS score or minimum APS score of 33 doesn't also guarantee you access. So it gets you a foot in the door in which you're put on a waiting list. And then obviously once matric results are released, then students are ranked and then we take our top performing students. So it's also important to know that don't aim for just a 33 APS, aim for the moon so that you get, you're comfortable and you're comfortably placed to get a place at the University of Johannesburg.
Wow, okay. So, and by BAc, you mean the Bachelor of Accounting, not the
Yes,
BCom.
yes. So at the University of Johannesburg, we have two streams. We have BCom, which is the professional accountancy stream, and then we've got the Bachelor of Accounting or BAc, which is the stream specifically designated for CA students. So if you are looking to become a chartered accountant, make sure that when you're applying, then you'll choose the BAc program as opposed to BCom.
Wow, no, thank you for that. I think that was clear enough. And the next question we are going to ask is, how long does it take to become a CA? How long does it take from the time that I step foot at the university during my first year? When can I expect to be a CA if everything is to go right, I do not fail or repeat any module?
So record time to be a CA is 7 years. So that basically consists of 3 years doing an undergraduate degree. So in our instance at the University of Johannesburg, that would be your BAc degree. So you do your 3 years undergraduate. So then if you meet certain criteria, you'll then be eligible to do what is known as CTA. That is a postgraduate 1-year degree. It's a certificate in the theory of accountancy. So that then makes you eligible to write your initial test of competence. So initial test of competence is what we used to refer to in my day as your first board exam. So to qualify as a CA, you basically need to write 2 board exams, your initial test of competence, as well as your assessment of professional competence. So those are the 2 board exams. Whilst you're writing those 2 board exams, you are then doing a 3-year traineeship, what we used to call articles. So you will then be at an auditing firm or you'll be at a company that's not an auditing firm. And again, this is where research becomes important. Go onto SAICA's website and see which companies offer training contracts so that you have an understanding of the options available to you, depending on which route you'd like to go in terms of, do you want to be an auditor or do you want to specialize in finance? Do you want to specialize in tax? There's different opportunities in terms of the articles or the traineeship that you can take once you've completed your CTA degree. So those 3 years of undergrad, your CTA, your 3 years of articles, with your 2 board exams in between, it's 7 years to qualify as a CA in record time.
Okay.
And look, one other thing that's important to note, failure is a fact of life. We all fail. So what we found is that, on average, it could take anything 8 or even 9 years. But generally, the record time is 7. So if students find themselves, in the first year, the second year, things don't go well, they don't go great, they fail a board exam here or there, it's not the end of the world. If your goal is to become a CA and that's what you want to do, you're passionate, you're ambitious, you're determined, and you're diligent enough, go for it.
Wow, no, thank you for that information.
Yes.
So it's important also that you say that I can go to the SAICA website and see which companies are able to offer the traineeship. So I cannot go just to any company and do 3 years and say, no, I'm completed with my 3 years. Yeah, no, thank
Yeah.
you for highlighting that. The fourth question we have here is, or the fifth question rather, what if I do not have these subjects and want to be a CA? Is there another way around it? I'm sure there are those who have already completed their grade 12s and or studied a while back and see that I do not have these subjects. Is there another way I can go about being a CA? Or if I've done BCom accounting as opposed to the Bachelor of Accounting or Bachelor of Accountancy, is there another way I can go about doing that? Or is it possible for me to still be a chartered accountant?
Okay, so I think this is the importance of career guidance or again research at the very early stages. So when students or high school students are selecting subjects in grade 8 or 9, it's very important to at that stage already have an idea of what type of industry you want to work in. My recommendation is always that students go for the basic subjects, your maths, your pure maths as well. Stretch yourself, do the pure maths, your normal languages, because that gives you the options and it doesn't limit you to a particular field. However, if you're already in grade 11 or grade 12, obviously we will not then look at a student that has, for instance, a maths literacy, in which case you would then have to find some sort of avenue to find a way to get a matric pure maths, because those are the only subjects, unfortunately, that we look at the University of Johannesburg. If you're already doing a BCom, what we have at the University of Johannesburg is a bridging program. So once you've obtained your BCom degree in accounting, you will then be eligible to do what is called a bridging certificate in the theory of accounting, so a BCTA. So that's also a 1 year program that bridges you in terms of upskilling from where you are in terms of BCom to where you need to be in order to enter CTA. So it's just a 1 year program, and you'll basically do whatever is needed in terms of foundational work to get you to a level where you are now eligible to enter into CTA if you are a BCom accounting student and you already completed that particular degree. So there are options. I never say never. If it's really something that you want to do, we and go to our website as well, uj.ac.za, and look under the College of Business and Economics, and you'll find our details there, where we have career guidance as well, where we'll then advise individuals, potential students or existing students, as to where to go in terms of wanting to qualify as a CA.
And you mentioned that mathematics is a requirement for you to be considered for the Bachelor of Accountancy degree. What about BCom? Do I need to do mathematics, or do I need to have pure mathematics for me to be considered for the BCom degree?
I stand to be corrected, but I think it is pure maths. But again, I think maybe individuals should go to the website and maybe just check up on it. There might be an option for maths literacy. I doubt it, but I always just suggest to students in high school, stick with pure maths. If something that's sitting in the back of your mind and you're considering doing it, stick with pure maths just to cover your bases, because you don't want to exclude things right at the beginning of your choice of subjects already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I will leave the link to the University of Johannesburg website in the description below. So if you'd like to go check out the
Yes.
more information on that, you'll find it down below. So we've addressed the subjects that you need to do, or you need to have done. Can I do the CTA at the University of Johannesburg without having done my Bachelor of Accountancy degree there?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. We do open applications up for students from other universities who want to do their CTA. Obviously, there are requirements. Just having a degree, a Bachelor of Accounting degree, is not enough. There are minimum requirements in terms of the marks that you would need to have gotten at third year, which is also applicable to our own students. And one of the requirements being that you must have done all your third year subjects and passed them in 1 year. So you can't have staggered your third year subjects. So that's something that potential students need to be aware of.
Okay. No, thanks for that. And a question maybe personal to yourself. What is the one thing you wish you knew before studying the CASA or before going through that route? What is the one thing you could advise someone, or you wish, however old you were when you started, or that person who is starting their journey? What is the one thing you'd say? This is what you should know. This is what you should consider going into this, that you learned later on. So it could be something personal. It could be something academic. What would
Yeah.
that be?
I think I think the most important thing for me, which is why I really do emphasize research, going into it, I didn't have accounting in high school, so I had no idea what accounting was. But I saw this degree and I thought, oh, I'll go in and do a 3 year degree and then I'll get out, start a business, and I'll be a CA. So that's why I emphasize the importance of research so that you know exactly what you're getting yourself into. I'm one person, I start something and I want to complete it. So, my first lecture, I'd already registered, and I was told that this is going to be a 7 year journey. So, with it being a 7 year journey, I had to, make the choice. Do I want to carry on with this and complete it, or do I get out now? So, and also it's important that potential students understand right from the get go that it requires a lot of sacrifice. There will be times where your varsity friends are out time and you are buckling down and you have exams and assessments and projects that are due. We keep our students very, very busy, so I think that's one thing I wish I had known, and I later only discovered, 6 months into it, you really need to be committed to the program, and you need to start working from day one. And that is a skill that will serve you in good stead, even in your career, if you know that, this is what is expected. And yeah, you need to start working from day one. That's one thing I wish I had known, but I learned quite quickly when
Yeah,
I was on the program. Yeah.
yeah, no, thank you for sharing your experience. And so, if I'm studying this, and I think you've mentioned and emphasized on the issue of researching thoroughly and knowing what you're going into, and that leads us to the next question: what are the career opportunities? And I think we touched on that in our first question. For those studying towards the CASA designation, I think you mentioned that you are a senior lecturer at the University of Johannesburg. So I'm guessing that's one of the career opportunities available um, out there. And what else? What are the streams that I could go into after completing my CTA?
So, well, after qualifying as a CA, because
Oh,
remember, after CTA, you still need to do articles.
yes.
But so once you've qualified as a CA, there is, the world is your oyster. There are so many opportunities in terms of, you could be a financial manager if you do your articles at an audit firm and you choose to stay on an audit firm. You can rise up all the way to an audit partner. We have CAs working in government. For instance, the Auditor General, we have CAs in the National Treasury. You have CAs working for private companies, publicly listed companies, as finance managers, as CFOs, as FDs, as CEOs. You've got CAs in non-governmental organizations. You've got CAs who are self-employed, who start up their own companies and consult and give advice. So the opportunities are, countless as to what you could do. Just one thing, and I think it really attracts a lot of people in terms of being a CA. Psycho ran a survey a few years ago, and they found that 75% of CFOs or financial directors of publicly listed companies, so those are companies listed on the JSC, are in fact CAs. So if that's something that excites you and you want to be, a captain of industry, steering the ship of organizations and guiding them and making those crucial decisions, being an executive director, a non-executive director, sitting on boards, it is an amazing opportunity. I cannot, the list is endless in terms of what it is that you want to do. what you can do as a chartered accountant.
Yeah.
And you can work as you can come back and lecture as well. So that's
Yeah.
also
Yeah, and
what
that
else you
takes
can
us to
do.
the next one, where I think you touched on that as well, the fourth industrial revolution. We know that as time goes by, things are changing faster and faster, especially with regard to technology. I remember my lecturer saying that you need to adapt or die. And that question stands with every
Yes.
profession that we'll be looking at. So, like the accountancy, will the accounting profession become obsolete with new technologies and the fourth industrial revolution? Has the accountancy profession adapted? Is it evolving as well? So, if I'm to study it, am I sure that, hey, by the time that I complete this, I will still be useful in the marketplace because of the changes in our environment?
So I think that is actually one of the most important questions because we get that a lot from students in high school in terms of should I study accounting? I mean, there's going to be a robot that does what you guys do. And my answer is always, we are not going to be replaced by accountants. It is impossible. The level at which you operate as a chartered accountant is very different to the level at which a robot operates. Robots are responsible for mundane, repetitive tasks. Robots are not responsible for making decisions. Robots can't interrogate information. If a robot has some sort of virus or a glitch, it can't fix itself. A robot produces information that doesn't make sense. The robot is not going to tell you why that information doesn't make sense. So, as a CA, we have always been trained to be strategic, critical thinkers. So it's not about the mundane responsibility of entering numbers and punching numbers. That's never been our responsibility. You're sitting at levels where you need to make decisions about investing in entities, about the direction that a company is going to take, about lots of things that robots could never ever be able to do. And however, what it has done is that it's created a need now for CAs to understand, the intricacies behind what these robots are churning out. So what we've then found in terms of innovation and making sure that our students are well equipped to be the CAs who are going to be working in that space where robots are churning, they already are churning information out. We need to make sure that students understand how to code. They understand robotics. They understand the implications of AI. So these programs have then been integrated into our curriculum. We have subjects that are specifically devoted to that, and our other normal subjects, your accounting, your auditing, your finance and tax, there's all these principles that are integrated into them, so that students understand where this information is coming from, and you're able to make decisions based on this information, informed decisions based on the information that's being churned out by a robot. So you, as a CA, you're not at a level where you're doing the repetitive tasks that a robot can. So we will never be replaced by robots. And I think we're fortunate, very fortunate to be in that position. So yeah, I want to allay people's fears. You will not be replaced by a robot.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's interesting to note that all these developments are integrated in the modules and subjects that are undertaken by students at their level of studies. So, yeah, we've gone through most of the questions that we would often get considering the CASA journey. And the last one we're going to look at is, what are other accounting or finance careers I can pursue apart from the CASA designation? When someone thinks of accounting, or when many in high school would think of the accountancy journey, they would only think about the chartered accountancy. And is that the only one? And maybe you may be biased in saying, no, that's the main one, or that's the one you should pursue. But are there other options? That you mentioned BCom accounting, for instance, where someone may be studying BCom accounting and is not interested in doing the bridging course and going the CA route. So, what are the other career opportunities that are available for those who do not follow the path of the CASA stream?
Yeah, definitely. That's why I think I mentioned we do have the non-CA stream and the CA stream. So our non-CA stream is called the professional accountancy stream. And in that, our program is accredited to feed into the professional qualifications of SEMA, the South African Institute of Professional Accountants, the International what's it, Internal Auditors Association. We have the I'm just thinking there's quite a few ACCA as well. So the students that come out with a BCom degree in our institution that remain at UJ usually choose to specialize in either audit, tax, or accounting. So we find that our tax students usually will then go on and they register with the South African Institute of Tax as well. So there's that profession as well. Yeah, so there's I think on the BCom stream, there's a wider variety of professions that students can choose from. So SEMA is specifically for finance professionals. And then also what we've also found is that a lot of the time, people who have qualified as CAs would then also want to obtain qualifications with the non-CA professional bodies, which is very common in the profession. So at no point is one better than the other.
Yeah.
It's all about options, and we are well placed to giving our students as many options as possible.
Thank you for answering those questions comprehensively. And we were excited to be able to get an appointment with you and be able to learn more about accountancy at UJ. I also studied at the University of Johannesburg some time back as well, so I really did enjoy my finance journey at the university. So thank you so much for affording us the time to have this conversation, and hopefully we will be able to have another time where we'll discuss more in the future. We really appreciate your time with us.
Well, thank you so much for having us. And anytime you guys just want to chat, want to get more information, our door is always open.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. If you have any other question, you can let us know and we will compile them. And like we said, in the future, we may have another one like this one. And yeah, till next time, have a good one.